Welcome to sixth grade math. Mini lab, James and his friend Ethan ordered 3 1-foot Italian sandwiches. They estimated that half of a sandwich will serve one person. How many half sandwich servings are there? Cut the sandwiches in half. You can see there are 6. The model shows 3 divided by a half. What is 3 divided by a half? It's 6. Draw a model to find each quotient. 3 divided by a fourth. So there's 3 pizzas, and if we divide them by fourths, we end up with 12. 2 divided by a sixth. There's 2 pizzas. If we divide them both each into 6, we get 12. 4 divided by a half. 4 pizzas. If we cut them each in half, we get 8 halves. Dividing by half gives the same result as multiplying by 2. The numbers 1/2 and 2 have a special relationship. Remember, whole numbers such as 2 can be written as 2 over 1. So the relationship between 1/2 and 2 is their product is 1, which means if we multiply 1/2 times 2, we get 2 over 2, and then that would simplify or be rewritten as 1. So 1 times 2 is the same as 1 over 2 times 2 over 1. Simplify the 2's. We get 1 over 1 times 1 over 1, which is 1. Any two numbers with a product of 1 are called reciprocals. So 3 divided by 1/2 equals 6, and 3 times 2 equals 6. 1/2 and 2 are reciprocals, and we get the same result. Find the reciprocal of 5. Since 5 times 1/5 equals 1, the reciprocal of 5 is 1/5. Find the reciprocal of 2/3. Since 2/3 times 3/2 equals 1, the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. Find the reciprocal of 11. 11 times 1 over 11 equals 1. So the reciprocal of 11 is 1 over 11. Remember that 11 can be rewritten as an improper fraction of 11 over 1. And then if we take the reciprocal, we simply flip the fraction. Find the reciprocal of 3/5. So 3/5 times 5/3 equals 1. So the reciprocal of 3/5 is 5/3. And find the reciprocal of 1/3. Since 1/3 times 3 over 1 equals 1, the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3. We could say it's 3 over 1, which is an improper fraction that we would then rewrite as a whole number 3. You can use reciprocals to divide fractions. Divide fractions or divide by fractions. To divide by a fraction, multiply by its multiplicative reciprocal or multiplicative inverse. And in numbers, that means 1/2 divided by 2/3 equals 1/2 times 3/2. In an algebra, a over b divided by c over d equals ab times dc, where b, c, d are not equal to 0. And that's because we can't have a 0 in the denominator, and all 3 of those variables are in the denominator at some point. When dividing fractions, the divisor, which is the second fraction, is inverted to multiply by its reciprocal. So 2/3, 1/2 divided by 2/3. The first thing we're going to do is change the division to multiplication, and then we're going to take the reciprocal of the divisor, which is the second fraction. If the reciprocal of the dividend, the first fraction, is used, the quotient will be inverted, so you will not come up with the correct quotient. Divide by a fraction. Find 1/8 divided by 3/4, right in simplest form. So we will multiply 1/8 times the reciprocal of 3/4, which is 4/3. And then we can divide out greatest common factors. So 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice, And then we can multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6, and we get 1/6. Find 3 divided by a half, write in simplest form. So 3 divided by a half. Let's go ahead and rewrite 3 as an improper fraction of 3 over 1. We'll change the division to multiplication, and then we will take the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2 over 1. Then we'll multiply 3 times 2 to get 6. 1 times 1 is 1. We get the improper fraction of 6 over 1. And then we can simplify that to the whole number of 6. Find 1/4 divided by 3/8, and then write in simplest form. So the first thing we'll do is we will change the division to multiplication, and then we will take the reciprocal of 3/8. So 1/4 divided by 3/8 becomes 1/4 times 8 over 3. And then we can simplify. 4 goes into 8 twice, 4 goes into 4 once. And then if we multiply across, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3, so we get 2/3. Find 2/3 divided by 3/8, write in simplest form. So we will change the division to multiplication, and we will take the reciprocal of 3/8, which is 8 over 3. And now we have 2/3 times 8/3. And if we multiply across, 2 times 8 is 16, 3 times 3 is 9, and we can rewrite that improper fraction as a mixed number of 1 7/9. Find 4 divided by 3/4, then write in the simplest form. We can rewrite 4 and 3 divided by 3/4 as 4 over 1 times 4 over 3, because we changed the whole number 4 into an improper fraction 4 over 1. We changed the division to multiplication so that we can multiply times the reciprocal of 3/4. So now if we multiply across, 4 times 4 is 16, 1 times 3 is 3, and then we can rewrite the improper fraction as a mixed number. And we know that 3 will go into 16 5 times with a remainder of 1, so we get 5 1/3. Real world example. At summer camp, 3/4 of each day is spent in group activities. There are 6 camp counselors who split their time equally as the activity leaders. What fraction of the day is each counselor the activity leader? And we would divide 3/4 into 6 equal parts. So 3/4 divided by 6, and we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. But in order to do that, first thing we're going to do is convert 6 from a whole number to an improper fraction of 6 over 1. And then we'll rewrite the expression, and we'll write it as 3/4 times the reciprocal of 6 over 1, which is 1 over 6. So now we have 3/4 times 1 over 6. Divide 3 and 6 by the greatest common factor of 3, and then multiply across. You get 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 4 is 8, so you have 1/8. Measurement. Neighborhood garden that is 2/3 of an acre is to be divided into 4 equal size areas. What is the size of each area? So we have divide 2/3 into 4 equal parts. So it's going to be 2/3 divided by 4. And we can rewrite that as 2/3 times 1/4, which is 2/3 times the reciprocal of 4. And we end up, we can divide out 2, the greatest common factor of 2 and 4. And then multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 2 is 6. And that is the answer. Find the reciprocal of 7. So 7 is the same as 7 over 1, which means the reciprocal is 1 over 7. Find the reciprocal of 3/8, which is 8/3. Find 1/3 divided by 5/6, write in simplest form. We have 1/3 divided by 5/6. We'll rewrite that as 1/3 times 6 over 5. And then we will simplify with the greatest common factor of 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1. If we multiply across, 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. So we get 2/5. Write 5 divided by 1/6 and find it. 5 divided by 1/6 and write in simplest form. 5 divided by 1/6 is the same as 5 over 1 divided by 1/6, which becomes 5 over 1 times 6 over 1. Multiply across, you get 5 times 6 is 30. 1 times 1 is 1. You can rewrite that improper fraction as a whole number 30. A relay race is 3/4 of a mile long. There are 4 runners in the race. What portion of a mile will each racer run? 3/4 divided by 4. So we can rewrite 3/4 divided by 4/1. And then if we're going to solve it, we would multiply 3/4 by the reciprocal of 4, which is 3/4 times 1/4. And we get 3/4 times 1/4. And if we multiply across, 3 times 1 is 3. And 4 times 4 is 16. So each runner ran 3/16 of a mile. And there is your homework. Please go to Google Classroom and enter it. And I hope you have a great night. I'll see you in class.